Hello everybody, I'm very grateful for anyone who is listening and joined up to this video. Today we're gonna keep exploring Minecraft world. We're gonna try finding a new base to build our house upon. And at the same time we're gonna get to know more biomes, search for different items, we'll find some treasures and stuff. That is the plan right now. And at the same time, while we do this, we're gonna read some more Reddit stories for you. So I hope you enjoy and let's begin. Am I the asshole for refusing to make my mom's birthday dinner after my family called it our tradition? I'm 27 years old female. For the last 5 years I've hosted my mom's birthday dinner. Not just ordered food and put plates. I mean I cleaned the apartment, borrowed chairs, planned the menu, cook, bake the cake, remind everyone what time to show up, make sure my grandma has a ride, and then clean everything after people leave. I didn't mind it at first. I love my mom. But somewhere along the way, it stopped being something I did and because something that apparently just magically happened. My brother shows up with flowers, takes pictures, posts another great birthday for mom, and everyone tells me he's thoughtful. My dad sits down and says you always make it look easy. Then everyone leaves while I'm scraping dishes alone at night. This year, in the family group chat, I said I'd love to come, but I wasn't hosting or cooking. I suggested we pick a restaurant or everyone bring one dish. Nobody replied for 2 days. Then my brother texted, "Wait, so you're just not doing mom's birthday?" I said, "No, I'm not doing everyone's job for mom's birthday." Now, my dad says I made her birthday about myself. My brother says I'm punishing mom because I want attention. My mom said she was hurt because she thought this was our little tradition. That part caught me, because it was never really our tradition. It was my labor with everyone else's names on it. I still went. I bought flowers. I hugged my mom. I sat down like everyone else. I just didn't bring the cake. 6 trays of food, extra chairs, paper plates, or backup plan. Now, my family says I embarrassed them and ruined everything sweet. Am I the asshole? Whoa. But this is just very usual scenario that happens around the world, around families, around any communities, where when someone puts a labor tag on specific person, and if that person is quiet, he does these labor tasks many times enough. It's just human nature. People get accustomed to it. People get used to that person being the responsible person for these specific scenario, these specific duties, and they assume you with those tasks. And if you stop doing them, it's like a breaking your own code, breaking the rules, breaking the things that was used to be done by you. So they feel betrayed because you were the one that was making all of those preparations, cookings, cleanings, and stuff. Are you the asshole for refusing to do it another time, and another time, and another time? I don't think so. I do not think that you are the asshole. Because making a birthday party is everyone's responsibility, not only yours. Why are you the special one that has to do all of the work for everyone? And at the same time, when you mentioned 2 days prior to maybe go to a specific restaurant where people bring their own plates, bring their own food and stuff, when people ignored you, that was a clear message that they weren't preparing for that. They were already trying to exploit you once again. So I don't think you're an asshole. Just because you had a warm, huge heart and tried to be the laborer for your mom's birthday parties doesn't make you an asshole just because you stopped doing all the work alone. That is my opinion. At the same time, if it was the actual family tradition to host a birthday party for the mom, someone else would have taken the daughter's place for making food, for inviting, for organizing everything if she doesn't do it. But apparently nobody did. So was it actually the real tradition, or was it just finessing your daughter into making this organization all by herself and you not participating in anything? This is just actually this is outrageous in my opinion. This is really rude and very awful. Very awful from the family perspective to treat your daughter this way. I'm actually pissed at this. I I really do not like this family dynamic that they have. This is ridiculous. That's all I can say. Am I the asshole for not liking the gift my boyfriend got me for my birthday? So, my boyfriend, 17-year-old male, and I, 17-year-old female, have been together for the past 2 years, and our relationship has been stable for the most part. Last week, I hosted my birthday at a restaurant in an outdoor mall near our house, and I invited all of our friends. Ever since the Nothing headphones released, he has been talking about them non-stop. I always thought they were ugly, and I've expressed this to him, but I always made a mental note to get it for him for his birthday. Recently, a yellow one released, which I mentioned is even more repulsive, and he has been talking about it more often. So, during my birthday dinner, I was opening gifts and I got his. I opened his gift, and lo and beyond, there are yellow Nothing headphones. I kind of lagged for a split second, but I recovered quickly and thanked him with a huge smile on my face, hugged him, and thanked him profusely. After I got home, I found he sent me a message on Snap that said, "Did you like the gift? I feel like you don't." Which I replied to with, "To be completely honest, it wasn't my favorite, but I genuinely do appreciate the effort you put into my gift." He then got all defensive and started sending paragraphs calling me ungrateful bitch and how he's drained and how I never appreciate him. Then I replied with, "I'm sorry if I came off like that, but I did mention how I didn't like them, especially the yellow ones. And you know that. And I do already have AirPods. I'm not trying to be ungrateful. I seriously do appreciate how you went out your way to get me something. But that something happened to be something you like. I just felt like you aren't hearing or talking what I say into consideration. Thank you for the gift, and sorry for making you feel that way." He then replies with, "You're being an asshole, and I think we should take a break. I'll pick up the gift tomorrow. I have him undelivered and I have no clue what to say or do. I do appreciate the effort, but I feel unheard. Am I the asshole? Is there something else I should have said?" Oh my god, your boyfriend, I cannot just the author of this post, I completely don't do not worry. This is ridiculous. Whatever that your boyfriend is nuts. Because I mean, he wasn't listening to you. He didn't listen that about your wishes. He thought that if he likes his Nothing earbuds, just because he thinks that just because he likes these new Nothing headphones, and doesn't mean that you might be liking them. And at the same time, you already have earpods, so why would you need a second headset? And this is already showing inconsideration from his part that he doesn't care that much about your wishes and about your needs. There's no way in the world that you're gonna be an asshole for this thing, because it's just the whole situation is just childish. He didn't consider your wishes. He already knew that you at some point already mentioned him that you do not prefer these Nothing headphones, and at the same time he already knew that you had AirPods already. Why would you need a fucking second headset? Oh, so that doesn't make any sense. And for him to get mad just because you got unnecessary gift, and to add up, the gift is the one that you actually don't really like that much. It's just bonkers for him to be in any position angry at you, and to go such depths, such levels of him leaving you undelivered is it's just extremely childish. Well, but that's how it is. He's just projecting his immaturity. So do not worry. I don't think you are in any wrong, and you haven't done nothing wrong. You didn't even show your dissatisfaction with the gift. You accepted it with very polite tone, with very polite intentions, and very warm appreciation. So yeah, everything you could do right in this situation, you did right. You did even more right than you could have done. So yeah, good story. And in my opinion, you're nowhere near the even small crumbs levels of asshole in this situation. You have done nothing wrong. Okay, let's move to the next story. This one is a bit lighter one. I made 5,000 euros for zero work done back in the early 2000s. Back when the euro was introduced in Ireland, the euro symbol wasn't printed on PC keyboards. Being the enterprising scammer I was, I went to every business in my town and offered a software update to install the symbol, saving them the need to buy a new keyboard for 20 euros per keyboard. I just show up with a floppy disk and sit at each computer for a couple of minutes. No one was actually interested in what I was doing. When I finished, I'd show them the keyboard shortcut to display the euro symbol and be told I was genius, which I am just not in the way they meant it. Well, yes, the comment says that just the stories from that era is always something insane like this, different times. Yeah, I agree with the comments. It's just you could always pull off some sort of funny random stuff like this and make some good money. Because yeah, it wasn't the world wasn't digitalized yet. You could do a lot of things like that during those times. Good times, honestly. You could do so many schemes back in the day. You could do so many ways, uh, not very virtuous ways, but there were so many ways to make money back in those days. Man, I wish I was born earlier. Maybe I had enough brain power to do some business ideas myself. Anyways, funny story. What business idea would you guys do in the early 2000s? What kind of scheme or what kind of idea would you have in mind if you were at the right age at the right time back in the day? Would be interesting to know. Am I the asshole for refusing to let people park on my yard? Neighbor runs a weekly yoga class at her home. We are generally amicable and had a polite conversation about this prior. This has been an ongoing issue with her clients parking their vehicles on the street. This road is wide enough and the neighborhood is quiet. There is no need for them to pull into the lawn at all. My yard came with a irrigation system and it is expensive and time consuming to repair. I acknowledge that the sprinkler systems fail anyways. I've sheared enough heads off with the mower to know that, so I can say for certain that it's her customers causing the damage. But to please the police and to be better and respect my boundaries. There is a plenty of pavement. Park along the road each week as you see fit. I do not care. Yesterday, when I came home, all I wanted was some peace after an absolutely soul-crushing work week. And my dismay, there are two vehicles parked along entirely up on my front lawn. This time, I was a bit more assertive and left with written notes. I made it clear that they were not welcome to park on my property, but the pavement was fine. I did turn on the irrigation for that zone until they left. One lady came to my door and at least apologized, and we had a reasonable and brief conversation. The 100,000 Mercedes did not and proceeded to drive another 30 across my lawn when she left. Every other individual in this scenario is a retired boomer, whereas I am a millennial trying to raise a family. Am I the only one who finds this type of behavior extremely entitled and disrespectful? I feel bad about the sprinkles. It was quite passive aggressive move, but I wanted to make a point. And though bringing some sensory stimulation to the moment might help the message received. Am I the asshole? Edit. To clarify, I mentioned a general divide primarily because I would expect that a couple of empty nester, semi-retired, fairly well-off neighbors might be a bit more understanding of the situation. That maybe they are much younger, much less wealthy, extremely hardworking. Neighbors are raising a young kid in 2026 have enough challenges on their plate already, but that requires empathy. I mean, this is your property. There's no discussions, no nothing. Anyone who parks on your property, who steps on your property, is an intruder and he has no right to be in your property. That's all there is. There's no explanations, no reason, no nothing. This is your property and you have to protect it. This is your property and nobody can be arrogant enough or or goofy enough to be thinking that he has any right in being in your apartment, in your property. Anyone who parked on your property is completely wrong, and there's not even a reason for you to be considered to be an asshole. There's nothing. I've depended on AI for school, and to no surprise, it's come back to bite me. All throughout high school, I used AI to cheat on assignments. I know that this isn't something unheard of, and I'm sure I'm not the first to complain about the lasting effects it had. To start, I had a severe depression and anxiety in high school. It is possible I have ADHD and or autism, but until I get tested, they can't really be used in this situation. Anyway, I figured out I'd be dead by 18, so I stopped trying. It was a gradual decline into AI. I remember freshman year coming out of quarantine and going to the high school. I cheated on everything in the middle school because again, I didn't care about school. My grades dropped and I was kicked out of the honors classes as well. During freshman year, I wouldn't use AI just to kind of ask a group of friends for an answers. I still wrote essays since I didn't know what AI was capable of. Sophomore year was when I started using a little bit more, just for tedious assignments. Junior year was when the things kind of started going overboard. I didn't do maybe half or less than half of the assignments. I used AI for almost everything else. Math was no exception. The only thing I did was reword the essays to make it sound less AI. Senior year, I stopped trying and I just copied and pasted everything. I swore I would change when going to college. I had the stupid idea of transferring to a top 20 institution. Mind you, I graduated with a 3.1 GPA, 1000 CIT flat, and no extracurriculars. I didn't have a chance in hell. I figured community college would be the easiest way to go. Now that I'm in the community college, things haven't changed. I still use AI for a good proportion of my assignments. I found myself cheating on coding assignments because I feel like it can't be bothered to do them. I like coding and math, at least I think I do. So, I do not know why I cheat. I mean, I don't cheat in math, so I don't know why I said that, but coding and essays, I do. From now on, to the point where I can't do anything without AI, it feels like I have the ability to think. It sucks because now it feels like I have this urge to just go out and learn, but I'm simply incapable of doing it. I find myself turning to AI when things get tough. I do not know anymore. This is all so tiring. I mean, your confession, I mean, this guy's confession or this girl's confession, I don't, I mean, everyone is using AI at this moment. Just find me a person who doesn't use AI. I'm telling you, no, you won't find any. Everyone uses, especially this age. People who go to colleges, to high schools, everyone uses it, and that person is not something extraordinary different from other people. I think. Yes, AI does make you think less. It does make you rely on computer power to do most of the tasks for you. And I mean, I'm not sure that your thoughts of thinking that you are ruining your life with using AI and it's gonna make your life bad in some sense. I don't think that is really the case because what you learn in school, what you learn in the educational institutions, they're just a tiny bit of information that you might be needing in the future in your working time and everything. Most of the real world scenarios you learn through experience, you learn through working, you learn through actual practice and not through education. Education is good for preparing you for this thing, but it is not mandatory for you to become a successful businessman, successful worker, successful employee, successful at doing the things you're assigned to do. Of course, you might have a slightly more undeveloped side of you. in specific areas, but this will not make you some sort of person who is incapable at doing tasks, at doing work, at doing many things. So I don't think you should be too hard on yourself for getting engulfed into the world of AI, into the world of reliance on the computer power. So, well, if you have the ability, if you have energy, if you have willpower, of course, try learning yourself, try doing tasks yourself, try to improve with using your own thinking power, not only AI's. But do not be so harsh on yourself just because you couldn't force yourself to do the tasks with your own brain power. That doesn't mean the end of the world for you. So just look at the world more lightly. Do not take the world that seriously. Aren't you more than a slave to the boss, the one that gets millions and you get the breadcrumbs? Aren't you more than that? Look at yourself as an individual, as a person with a personality, as a person with feelings, and as a person that has dreams, and not as a person that can be as the smartest and most productive employee for the employer in the whole world. Don't look at yourself as a product. Look at yourself as an individual. That is my opinion. My most embarrassing moment still haunts me a decade later. At the time I was 23 and renting the upstairs of this huge house. My landlord, Dave, 35 at the time, lived in the basement suite. We had a door that separated the units, and only I had the password for it. Dave worked out of the town for most of the year on the oil rigs. He would be gone for months, only coming home for a couple of days at a time before heading back up north. He usually gave me some sort of heads up before he came home, but there were a couple of times he didn't. Sometimes I would only know that he was home if his truck was in the driveway. Dave was a nice guy. He was always giving me snacks and extra tickets to the events he couldn't make. He had also given me one of those Android boxes that were super popular in 2016 for pirated movies and shows. It was the end of June, and he was leaving for another shift. He said that he might be back in the fall, but if not, he would definitely be home by Christmas. He also told me that the upstairs can get really hot in the summer, as the upstairs unit didn't have AC. He then told me that if he ever got too hot, I could go down to his unit while he was gone and chill there. He said that I could use his home theater setup since he knew I loved movies, and that he would text me the instructions on how to use it. His was a far better setup than mine, and I thanked him before he left. Fast forward to the beginning of August, and he was right. One brutal heatwave had turned the house into an easy bake oven. It had to have been over 35 degrees for days straight. I finally caved and peeked out the window to see if his truck was there. I remember being super excited that it wasn't, and I giddily gathered up my snacks, chargers, and the book I was currently reading before heading to the basement. I had been in his place a couple of times before to watch a movie or to play board games with his friends while he was at home, so it didn't feel weird for me. I slept like a baby on his couch that night. I worked at a local restaurant as a waitress, and I got home the next day around 3 p.m. to find the upstairs still unbearable. I headed downstairs where I had left all my things. In hindsight, I should have picked it all up. Oh well, they wasn't going to be home for another month or longer, so what was one day, right? This this is where the things get interesting. A movie I really wanted to see had come out prior in theaters, but being a broke waitress, I couldn't really afford the ticket, and the gas money to drive the hour it took to get to the closest theater. So you can imagine my excitement when I turned on the TV downstairs to find that said movie was finally in HD on that Android box. I hit play and settled in with my Skittles and wine. Well, I'm not proud of what I did next, and I still have a shame over to this day whenever I think about it. I must have been drunk while ovulating at that time, but something about seeing Margot Robbie and Alex Skarsgård running around wet in the jungle had my lady boner crazy that night. I lost all control while they finally kissed, and I paused it to head upstairs to grab my battery operated boyfriends. Yes, that's Flora, before going back to downstairs and finishing me and the movie. I passed out for a while after that, but I woke up starving and headed upstairs to make some food. I completely forgot to grab Boston Oven on Briggs, or BOB for short, battery operated boyfriends. Now, Boston was a very realistic toy. I had won it at the door's price at a 18 plus taboo show the year prior. My friends and I named them on the way home in the night, so that were the triple threat trio got their names if you were wondering. Anyways, after eating and taking a shower, I went back downstairs to watch another movie, only to find Dave standing there, looking at his couch. I said, "Hi," but just slowly looked at me, then back to his couch. I follow his gaze, and there, lying on his couch, displayed in all of their humiliating glory, lay my dildos I forgot to grab. In a completely panicked state that was purely fueled by extreme embarrassment and an intense need of self preservation, I flew myself across the room. I collected the Silicon Dream Team, my snacks, and pillow before releasing the most unhinged noise that was ever left my mouth, and I was rushing back upstairs. He never said anything about it, and neither did I. The next day, my sister came over, and we had a run into Dave outside by his truck. To my complete and utter horror, my sister said, "Dave, how have you been?" Before I even had a chance to introduce them. She then proceeded to tell me he was our brother's best friend from school. I am 100% sure Dave has never told my siblings, because if he had, my brother would have tormented me about it for the rest of my life. So, if you ever read this, Dave, thanks for being a gem and never telling anyone. Ah, I do feel way better after typing this up. This has been my notes for a couple of days, but I'm finally decided to share it. I figured it out my misfortune can bring laughter to someone today, and it's worth it. Well, that was a unexpected story I wasn't expecting to read out loud. I thought it's gonna be more a bit more family friendly story. That took an unexpected U-turn. Whenever I read a story, I read it together with you guys. I don't read it beforehand, so I'm as surprised as you are if someone is surprised. Just very funny story. Well, at least the Dave was a nice guy. He didn't say nothing. Bro. But I wonder what was happening in his head when he saw this situation, when he coming back to his apartment, seeing this stuff going on. Imagining you coming back from oil rigs, all dirty, all worked your ass off, tired, and just see on the couch your Mr. Friend vibrator just pointing at you, introducing themselves. "Hello, I'm Mr. Vibrator. How are you doing?" And I probably can imagine the girls shock finding out he's just standing there and looking at them. Oh, the embarrassment. Who could have handled this sort of embarrassment? Oh, great story. Well, anyways, I hope you enjoyed the few stories I have shown to you. The Minecraft adventure is going somewhere. I'm not sure what I'm doing anymore. I might be creating another world. I just tested it out. I need to really start building something in the Minecraft game, because for the rest of the time I was just exploring and figuring something out. But I think it's time. I think it's time to build something. Probably I'll have to try building a house or something, some sort of object, some sort of building, maybe some bridge, a castle. castle. I really enjoy building some sort of historical medieval stuff, so we'll try doing something. Of course, I need to mine, I need to find something. I think there's an end goal for this game, right? Be it an Ender Dragon or something. So yeah, we'll try to do something more at the same time later on. But anyways, I really hope that you enjoyed some of the stories I had read to you. I hope you had a great time, and I'll be waiting for you in the next video to come back. And if you have any interest in me reading something, if me giving me my own opinions, and if you just enjoyed the video in general, just I would be real grateful if you post a like, maybe if you like these videos, and maybe put a subscribe button or comment something, but only if you enjoyed it. If it's not if you didn't like it, don't press anything. And without further ado, I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.